If I had to start again, start over from scratch at 51, what would I do to get in the best shape possible? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you the exact process that I'd follow, and the first thing might surprise you. Anyway, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget, bang the like, then subscribe. You'll be making a massive difference to this small channel. Right, less waffle, let's get into this. So, the first thing that I do, and this doesn't involve physically doing anything, I take a mindset shift. Now, that just sounds like a load of meaningless waffle, so let me translate. You have to think about getting in shape as a journey and not just an end point. If you have end point mentality, once you've achieved your goal, you can stop. You just need to get to a certain point, and that's it, done. Thinking like this will always prevent you from truly getting in shape. Now, instead, you have to think of getting in shape as being a journey, and that's a journey that you're gonna be on for the rest of your life. But why is this? Why can't you just have an end point in mind and get to that point? Well, to truly make progress on your journey, you need to stack the improvements that you make. And what do I mean by this? Well, let's say that you decide to cut down on sugary foods, for example. This needs to be a commitment for the rest of your life. And once you've embedded that, you could look at improving, say, sleep. If you commit to something for the rest of your life, eventually it just becomes normal. It's just what you do. And then when you add something else, it only feels like you're doing one different thing. It's stacking these changes that leads to a great physique. And that's why you can't think about this as a destination. It has to be a journey that will last for the rest of your life. Okay, so the second thing that I do, and you'll be relieved to hear that this is back into more straightforward actions, I'd start working out. And more specifically, to get a fast start, I'd do a full body workout twice per week for a month. Now, you might be thinking, only working out twice per week? Well, there's good reason behind this. By only lifting twice in a week, I'd be getting the maximum recovery time possible, but still working every muscle group twice. Now, this recovery time is really important when you first start, as if it were me, well, my body would not be used to exercise at all. Full body, twice per week, will kickstart muscle building while still allowing me to recover. Now, once that initial 4-week phase was complete, I'd do 2 more weeks, full body, but then working out 3 times per week. Now, this might have some people screaming that I'd be doing overwork, but I personally believe it would help me to bridge to the next phase of my workouts. And this early on, the body will respond quickly. So 2 weeks, an extra 2 weeks, full body, 3 times a week, and then I'd move into my long-term workout regime. Now, this is often called the bro split, and it's working push, then legs, pull, and then finally I'd add in core as well. So 4 days per week, but exercising each muscle group only once. Again, a lot of people say that as you get older, each muscle group should be worked twice. But as we have to stabilize our body when we're exercising, this really does take care of that. So for example, when I'm doing pull-ups, my chest and shoulders are activated to stabilize the move. So you're still getting that activation on multiple days, even though technically you're only exercising each muscle group once. So the third thing that I do is I'd get my protein intake correct. Most men in their 40s and 50s are under eating protein. So I suppose that means I probably would be too. Now, if your protein intake is too low, you can't build or retain muscle. And on top of this, eating a sufficient amount of protein helps to keep your appetite in check, which will, of course, help to strip away that excess fat. I'd be looking to eat 1 gram of protein per pound in body weight. And I'd get that through a mixture of whole foods, meat, fish, seeds, nuts, etc. And for convenience, because sometimes it's difficult to consume enough protein, I'd be using protein shakes too. And don't forget, with your protein shakes, I buy the unflavoured ones, and then I can actually mix that in with other foods as well. If you're not wanting to have them as shakes, it's quite a handy way to do that. Next, I'd want to start cutting out UPF. Now, I've done a whole section in a video on UPF in my last video, which I'll link in at the end. But long story short, if I were eating ultra processed foods, there's just no way that I could get lean, because UPF literally just makes you overeat. Now, in with this, I'm going to add in cutting down or cutting out alcohol. Again, if you watch my last video, I talk at some length about this, but what I will say is that as somebody that gave up alcohol nearly 15 years ago now, it was one of the best decisions that I've made in my life. If you've never tried going sober, give it a go for a month. I promise you, you will feel so much better. Now, the next thing that I'd want to do is get active. Now, that might sound a bit woolly. So what do I mean? Well, a big part of getting lean is to keep that metabolism fired up. Now, I enjoy walking, so that's what I do. And again, I could just be deliberate about choices I make. So doing garden work or DIY and housework are all just as good. I just want to keep moving. By staying active, what I'm doing is I'm just encouraging all the time for my body to keep burning fat. And it's just a really great way. In fact, now it's something that I use all the time. Just going for a walk for 45 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever I can fit in, it's just a really fantastic way. And one of the things I'd recommend is that if you can do that cardio, that walking in a fasted state, well, then you're definitely burning fat, and that's really going to help that process of getting lean. And the last thing on my list, one that is overlooked so frequently, I'd be stretching at least twice per week. As we age, flexibility starts to diminish. Regular stretching retains mobility and just makes everything else much easier. In fact, I'd say that this is perhaps one of the most important things on my list. But right at the end, and I do stretching twice a week as a bare minimum anyway, and I just find it just makes movement in general just so much more easy. If it's something you don't currently do, I'd really honestly recommend that you start a small stretching program a couple of times a week, particularly if you're hitting 40 or 50. Those hips start to tighten up, your back starts to tighten up, everything sort of gets more difficult, mobility just becomes more difficult. As soon as you start stretching, it just kind of unlocks that mobility again, which is just fantastic. Recommend it. So that's it. 6 things that I'd do if I were starting over. If you're just starting out, let me know in the comments what was the most useful to you. Or if you've been working out for a while, what else would you include on the list? Anyway, I'm Tommy. This is Sixpack 50, and I'll see you in the video just up there. Give it a click.